All right, welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving straight into what is arguably the biggest strategic shift in enterprise AI we've seen in the last 2 years. We've all gotten pretty comfortable with this standard assumption of how companies use AI, right? Mostly, it involves paying a monthly fee to paying some massive black box system sitting in a cloud somewhere. But a major disruption just entered the chat, and it's literally rewriting the rules of technological ownership.
For the past couple of years, enterprise AI essentially meant renting an API and just trying to bend it to your will. You take this massive general-purpose model, pay your access fee, and then you try to wrangle it with a messy web of prompts, retrieval pipelines, and governance wrappers, all just to make it kind of sound like your brand. It's totally a one-size-fits-all approach. But Mistral's Forge platform argues for a much blunter path. The strategy here isn't about renting someone else's intelligence anymore, it's about forging your own from the ground up. This is a massive shift, moving from paying a toll for every single query to actually building a model that acts as the unique intellectual foundation of your company.
I mean, really think about that for a second. What if you didn't just adapt a model to your company, but built a model that absolutely is your company? Imagine training a system entirely on your own code, your proprietary documents, your highly specific industry rules. Instead of constantly fighting the pre-programmed guardrails of some generic assistant that was built for the masses, your AI becomes a true reflection of your organizational DNA. It lives exclusively on your servers, it learns solely from your history, and it operates entirely under your command, without ever sending a single byte of data back to a third-party developer.
So here is our roadmap for today. 1. Renting versus owning AI. 2. The Three-Rung AI Ladder. 3. Inside Mistral's Forge platform. 4. The Sovereign AI Advantage. And 5. When is it worth it?
Let's kick things off with Section 1, Renting versus Owning AI, the Paradigm Shift.
Europe's most valuable AI company, Mistral, launched Forge at NVIDIA's GTC back in March 2024, and they did it to offer a completely different path from the usual ecosystem of API wrappers. And the pitch they're making? It's uncompromising. They are betting heavily that the future for serious, data-sensitive organizations is absolute ownership. This totally shifts the battleground away from just access agreements straight toward total infrastructural control. It's no longer just a casual conversation about which cloud provider's API are going to call. It's a fundamental question of whether you own the intelligence engine driving your business or if you're entirely dependent on an external landlord who could change the rules, tweak the pricing, or just alter the underlying capabilities literally overnight.
Moving on to Section 2, the Three-Rung AI Ladder, finding your fit.
To really grasp this shift, we need to ground it in practical architectural reality. Think of enterprise AI implementation as a strict hierarchy, like a ladder. Down at the base, you have RAG, or Retrieval Augmented Generation. RAG simply changes what a model can look up at the exact moment it answers. It's like giving a student an open book during a test, right? It doesn't change their fundamental intellect, just their access to changing facts. Step up one rung to fine-tuning, and you change how the model responds. You're training it on a consistent tone, style, or specific formatting. But Forge sits at the very top. It creates a substantially domain-adapted model, fundamentally changing how the model actually reasons. It's for when your deeply complex proprietary knowledge needs to shape the core judgment of the AI itself.
So the absolutely crucial point here is that skipping straight to Forge, just because it sounds cool and powerful, is a phenomenally expensive mistake. You have to climb this ladder sequentially. Start with RAG for your document search and daily ops. If that baseline fails to capture the nuance of your workflow, then move to targeted fine-tuning for those consistent tasks. You should only pull the trigger on a massive platform like Forge when model-level specialization delivers a clear, measurable ROI that those cheaper, off-the-shelf options simply cannot touch. You've got to prove the business case at every single rung.
All right, Section 3, Inside Mistral's Forge platform, opening the box.
If you do decide that the top rung of the ladder is for you, what exactly are you buying into? Well, Forge is basically an end-to-end lifecycle platform that packages the exact toolchain an internal AI research team would assemble. It is not some simple self-service dashboard you just log into. It's a fully managed development program. It handles the heavy data preparation, even generating synthetic data so you can learn from rare edge cases missing from your historical records. It manages highly complex training architectures, whether that's standard dense models or mixture of experts, MO, which intelligently route queries to specialized parts of the network to save compute. It also packs a full post-training alignment kit, We're talking techniques like LoRa for incredibly efficient fine-tuning and RLHF, reinforcement learning from human feedback, to map the model's behavior directly to your preferred human outcomes. It wraps all of this up with rigorous evaluation against your custom KPIs and preps it for totally private deployment. It's the whole shebang.
Now, what really sets this apart is that Forge is fundamentally a consulting-heavy program driven by forward-deployed engineers. You aren't just buying a software license here. You're getting a Palantir-style engagement. These embedded technical experts sit directly with your team, working shoulder to shoulder to build and optimize. Plus, they deploy alongside Mistral's own agentic workflow, which is powered by their code agent called Vibe to help tune the models, run hyperparameter searches, and schedule massive compute jobs in real time. It is an incredibly hands-on partnership.
Now for Section 4, the Sovereign AI Advantage, a European story.
This brings us to the geopolitical core of this explainer. Training on your own data, in your own jurisdiction, with a non-US provider like Mistral becomes an incredible operational hedge. When you strip away all the flashy technical tools, it really boils down to deep domain adaptation, deployment sovereignty, and full lifecycle control. In a year where model access and data privacy have proven to be highly sensitive geopolitical variables, having true deployment sovereignty isn't just a nice philosophical idea for a press release. It's a critical defense mechanism for global enterprises who literally cannot afford to have their infrastructure caught in international crossfire.
Mistral's founder frames their entire thesis around this exact idea, owning the full stack, from electrons into tokens. I love that phrasing because it perfectly captures the sheer scale of their ambition. They aren't just handing you a USB drive with some model weights on it. They are providing the foundational infrastructure to guarantee that nobody can ever sever your access to your own intelligence capabilities. From the literal electrical power running through the data centers all the way to the digital tokens the AI generates, they are building a pathway for buyers who demand absolute, uncompromising independence.
Now sure, the big US players offer customization, but that's often executed through massive cloud partnerships that heavily tie you into their specific ecosystems. Mistral's true moat is bringing together full pre-training, strict data residency requirements, and completely air-gapped deployment under one unified managed platform. That complete bundle is their unique value proposition, and it's a formula that's already being successfully utilized by highly secure organizations like Singapore's Home Team Science and Technology Agency, or HTX, to maintain absolute technological independence for their most sensitive public safety applications.
Finally, Section 5. When is it worth it? The catch and the cost. We've seen the incredible promise of the platform, but power at this scale comes with massive operational demands. The early adopters of Forge are highly specialized entities whose data is simply too sensitive or just too complex to ever hand over to a standard third-party API. We are talking about critical global infrastructure players. Think the semiconductor giant ASML, telecommunications leader Ericsson, the European Space Agency, and top-tier government defense organizations. If your company relies on strict local laws, highly classified defense protocols, or complex architectural conventions that a generic model would never understand, well, you fit this high-end profile perfectly. But here is a major reality check, highlighted by critique from the Futurum Group. Most enterprises simply lack the data maturity for Forge. Organizations typically spend well over 50% of their time just maintaining, organizing, and cleaning their data rather than actually using it to generate insights. Forge assumes that you already have pristine, perfectly structured, ready-to-train proprietary datasets. So if your business is still struggling to organize its basic databases, jumping into an advanced foundational model development program is literally putting the cart miles before the horse.
Furthermore, even the most aggressive Forge adopters are keeping their RAG architectures around. Why? Because fast-changing policies belong in an editable document store, not baked into rigid model weights that you have to constantly retrain. Think about it. If your company's HR policy updates on a Tuesday, you absolutely cannot run a multi-million-dollar compute cycle to retrain your foundational model on Wednesday. Traceable evidence, recent facts, and living documents require systems that are instantly updatable. So owning the model doesn't mean you can just abandon your search and retrieval systems.
If you do decide to pursue this, you need to treat any massive 6- or 7-figure price tag skeptically until you get crystal clear answers to some critical due diligence questions. Who actually retains the IP rights to the final weights? Can you export the model and run it without Mistral entirely if you choose to leave the platform in 2 years? What are the strict telemetry limits regarding your data? You have to calculate the true total cost of ownership, which means factoring in the highly specialized staff you'll need to hire and the immense GPU capacity required to run it, not just the sticker price of the initial training run.
Ultimately, the mature move here is to force a controlled side-by-side bake-off. Don't let a flashy tech demo convince you. Put Forge head-to-head against a robust, significantly less expensive RAG and fine-tuning combination using your team's actual daily workflows. If the hyper-specialized, self-owned model doesn't provably crush the cheaper baseline on your specific internal metrics, then it just isn't worth the massive platform commitment and organizational overhead.
Mistral has firmly planted a flag on the far end of the sovereignty spectrum. The direction of travel in this industry is absolutely unmistakable. It points toward owning and controlling your entire technological stack. But knowing whether you have the data maturity, the operational need, and the vast resources to stand on that frontier today is the real challenge. It leaves every enterprise to answer one fundamental, highly provocative question. Is your organization truly ready to own the model, or are you still just renting? Thanks for joining me on this explainer. Keep questioning the paradigm, and we'll catch you on the next one.